Alright, so in this video we are going to figure out how to automate what the best price is so we don't have to put things together every time. And so the way that we're going to do that is we are going to do that with a combination of two functions, and one of those is going to be called match and the other is going to be called index. Now we're going to stack those two together into one different function. Okay. So usually when I'm making a very complex equation, I'll usually build it in parts. So we're going to start with match. So equals match. And so returns the relative position of an item in an array that matches the specified value found in a specified order. Basically, it's going to tell us which row our arrays in, which row our values in. So basically, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what row the maximum price is in. So what am I going to have? Lookup value. Well, I've already built this maximum profit here, so I'm going to look up the maximum profit. And I'm going to look that up in this array. So an array is basically, so I'm picking that A26 to B47. That's going to be the array that I'm looking up. I want it to go look up that 10,292 value and match type. Now I can find the largest value that's less than, the smallest value that's greater than, or an exact match. Now the nice thing with this is because I've already calculated out what the maximum profit is, I can go for an exact match because I know that number is going to be in there. Otherwise, I would have to use one of those less than or equal to things. So now if I execute this, you'll see that it says not applicable. What did we pick that was incorrect here? Oh, I'm sorry, I picked my array of being A26 to B47. Typically when, I made a mistake here. So typically what happens when Excel's looking up anything in an array, it's always going to be in that first column there. Okay, so I made a mistake. I actually want it to be B26 to B47. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to type this to a B. And there we go. So that fixes it. Now, you'll notice that it comes out as $14 because this cell is formatted for dollars. So really what it has returned for us is 14. That's the row number. So if I go and look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that match function has told me that the maximum value hits 14 rows down in the array. All right. So now what are we going to do? We are going to use the index function. And so what does the index function do for us? Well, let's do a separate one here on its own. So index returns the value or reference at the intersection of a row and column in a given range. Okay, so if we were doing that, so the array, the first thing that we're going to look at is the array, which this time we're going to pick this because we want the whole array. So that's our array. And then we're going to want the row number. So what is going to be the row number? Well, in this case, I know that that row number is 14 because I pulled it from the other equation. I'm going to type it in. And I hate putting actual numbers in equations because if something changes, you have to go change it. So this wouldn't be fully automated. But what's going to happen is that's where we're going to drop the match function here in a minute. And then the other thing is, what is the column number? Well, I want to pull the unit price. That'll be column 1. And so we hit that, and this should say 520. There we go, 520. So now what I want to do is, since I've shown you how that worked, let's put it in the context of this one here. So index, I want the index. What's my array? Well, the index for my array is this one here. What is the row number? Well, the row number is this match function. So this whole thing is just an equation to get me to 14, which is my row number. So I want row 14, I want column number 1. And so there we go, 520. So we've stacked up to automate completely what this best price is going to be. And so, because let's say they come back and go, hey, the materials have gone up, $275. Oh, look, when the units cost to produce goes to 275, the best profit now is going to be when we're selling 580, and this automatically changes to 580. Once again, this is what we want. We want to automate everything as much as we can. Let's say we get a better price and get it to 225. Well, look at that. We get a better profit for dropping to 480. Once again, completely changes back to what it is. Okay, so let's put this back to 250. And so now we've got that all together. And so let's take a look at, let's put together a graph, because graphs are easy things to see. So we can go to the boss and say, look, this is what's going to happen. So insert, we're going to do an XY scatter, and we're going to do scatter with smooth lines and markers. Markers are just little dots. So we're going to put this into a report. Make this a little bit bigger. In fact, let's right click and say move chart, put it on its own sheet so it's nice and big. So let's say we're going to put this in a report, so I don't need a chart title because I'll title it in the report, but I am going to need axis titles. So now notice this says 0 to 800, that's the unit price, and 0 to 12,000, that is our profit. So we'll go here in unit price. And once again, this is in dollars. We're in the United States. We're assuming that's US dollars and not Australian dollars and whatnot. And then we'll come over here and go profit. And we need to specify this is in hundreds. Once again, units are very critically important for stuff because that would kind of screw things up. Okay, and so now we've got a lot of white space on this. So let's get rid of some of it. So I'm going to right click here. We're going to go to format axis. We're going to make the minimum, we're going to put it at 200. So the minimum would be 200. And I'm going to move the maximum to 700 because I just want to get rid of some of that white space. And so there we go. So now it's a much better chart because it's very clear on what's going on. Now, it's not really clear as where we have our maximum value. So let's mark that on the chart. And once again, I'm going to want to put this in such a way that will automatically change if the things change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click here. I'm going to go select data, and I'm going to add a series. So we have series 1, which is just all the price data. So I'm going to add a series, and we're going to call this max profit. That will be the series name. And so the X value, X is the unit price. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my profit model. My X value would be 520. XY scatter charts are great because you just give it an X and a Y value, it puts it there. And then my Y value is going to be the maximum profit of 1029. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to hit OK. See, now we've got that red marker there. So what I want to do is I want to make that stand out a little bit better. So I'm going to come over into here, and actually I want to just select on that. So I've selected just that series, and we're going to go over to our little paint bucket here, and we're going to go to the marker options, and let's see, built in. And we're going to choose, what do we want to use? We'll use the diamond, and then we're going to make it a lot bigger. So let's put it at 15, and it's profit, so we'll put it as green. Oh, that's the outline, isn't it? Yeah, that's the border. So let's go to fill, we'll make the fill green, and actually on the border, we're going to make it black so it really stands out there. Okay, so that shows our max profit. Now, obviously, we don't know what those are, so let's go and we are going to click on the plus here. We want to add a legend. And so our legend, we'll hit the little caret to pop it out here. We want it to be more options because we just want to have it float on everything. And actually, let's do it a different way. So if I go add chart element, legend, more legend options, there should be float on text. So legend options, let's go here, top, bottom, show legend. Okay, I want to click off the show legend without chart, so we'll move it to here. Okay, and so a couple things quick to make it look a little bit better. One, we want to go select data, edit. That first one is series 1, and so that's just going to be since it is showing us the profit, we're just going to call that profit. We'll leave that at max profit. We'll hit OK. Now, so the first thing is I don't like the fact that you can see these grid lines through here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here and we are going to give this a solid fill. We're just going to fill it in white, and then we'll give it a solid line border of black. There we go. Because you don't want anything going through. You want no lines going through any words on anything that you do. And so the last thing that I want to do is I want to change, because this one, both of these are the same. So we've got lines with markers. So the max profit, I want to get rid of the line because it doesn't need to be there because it's only showing the marker. So we are going to change chart type, and we're going to go down here to combo. And combo is, so we got profit as a clustered column. So we're going to pick profit. We're just going to go back here, XY scatter, smooth line with markers. And then for max profit, we'll go back to XY scatter, and we're just going to choose markers. I'm going to hit OK. And what got screwed up there? What got screwed up there is I've got both columns on there. So let's go back to change chart type. Get rid of secondary axis because I want everything to be on one axis. Okay, and there we go. And so there we are. So we've got our line. Now, because I did the combo chart, it got screwed up here again. So we'll just go back to format axis. We'll do our minimum at 200, and we're going to do our maximum at 700. And so there we go. And so now we can look at this graph. Everything is set. And because since I did it in this way, and we could go back through if things here change, and let's say the unit cost produced goes to 200, you'll see that 420 gives us the max profit. We go back to this chart, it automatically changes, and it slides to where it's going to be. And I guess the last thing that we could do is if we go to Format Data Series, and we go to marker, can we easily, let's see, marker options, built-in automatic fill, border, I'm just seeing, okay. I would have to change the chart type to put the actual value on it, but that's fine. That's the way it is. You can see it, it shows it there. If we wanted to, we could put a little text box in here to give the actual value. So one last thing that we could do is have the value show up on there too. So if I right click on this, I can go to Format Data Labels, and we can put in our data label. So there's our X, that would be our Y value, which is the maximum profit, which is 12,600. We can have it show both the X and the Y value, or we can just say the X value to say where our maximum profit's going to be. And then we can do the same thing that we did with the other one. We want to make sure to give it a solid fill behind there. So no matter where we put it, we have our nice little block. So then we can say, okay, well, the maximum profit's at 420. And then we can play with this. We could bring in overvalues and stuff and say, you know, exactly what the profit value is and whatnot. There are a lot of different things that we can play around with. But once again, this is something that we can, if we change this, and then we go back, it automatically updates. So there's different ways that we can do at it. There's different ways that we can look at it. So there we go, and that's how we would do this. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.